Welcome to Just Ride Bikes. I'm David and this is a Specialized Tarmac SL8 Pro. And I've been living with the bike for the last 6 months. And it's annoying because it's really good. It's a supremely impressive bike in just about every way. Speed, comfort, handling, performance. But there are a few things I dislike about it, as I'll share in today's video. The first one really is the price. But this Pro model is £4,000 cheaper than the S-Works model I rode last year. Link to our review above in case you missed it. And for £4,000 you could go on a cycling holiday or buy another bike or a second-hand car or get a coach to help you go faster. It's still expensive though. It's just over £8,000 for this model here. But we'll talk about the price and how it compares to rivals in a few minutes. Now, you probably know the story of the SL8. It's not a new bike, it's been around for quite a while. A few years ago, Specialized merged their old Venge Aero bike and a Tarmac lightweight bike into one Aero all-rounder. And the SL8 is a second version of that idea. And lots of bike brands are going in this direction as well, of having one bike to do everything. Although, given the way Tour de France is going with Aero becoming the main focus, that may change, so whether we might see an SL9 and a new Venge remains to be seen. But right now, this bike is trying to be lightweight and aerodynamic. And aero testing, it does perform well in Tour magazine in Germany. And around my test track, it's not as fast as a Canyon Air Road or a BMC Team Machine R, but faster, or in the same company at least, as a Van Rysel, the Seeker Spear, and a few other similar bikes trying to be lightweight and aerodynamic. And in terms of weight, the SL8 is still one of the lightest aero bikes out there. And to put that 7.2 kilo weight in a bit more perspective, a top of the range Canyon Aero CFR or Cannondale Super 6 Evo with top end group sets and all the best parts are only 7 kilos. So this bike is only 200 grams heavier than two top of the range bikes. And this is a mid-range model. So yeah, very impressive. And a reminder of how light the frame set is on this bike. And the Tarmac SL8 range is nice and simple, and there are 3 trims to choose from. There's the S-Works at the top, the £12,000 superbike. There's the Expert in the entry level, and the Pro, this bike here, in the middle. And they are essentially all the same bikes, the same frame design, the same tube shape, the same aero performance. The S-Works gets a fancier carbon fibre layout for a lighter frame and a lighter overall build, about 6.7 kilos, while the Pro here looks like the pick of the bunch really, because you get the same carbon handlebar, the same carbon rims but on low grade DT Swiss hubs, and a 3D printed saddle but on metal rails and not carbon rails. And you're saving £4,000 and the weight goes up to 7.2 kilos. So not a massive increase in weight, but a big saving on your bank balance. And in terms of performance, there's not much in it. Blindfolded between the S-Works and the Pro, yes, there's a weight on the scales we can definitely see and feel when you pick the bike up. But when you're riding the bike, the contact points are the same, the tyres are the same, it rides almost the same, like 99% the same, which begs the question of why anybody this side of a Pro rider would choose the S-Works when a Pro offers essentially the same performance for a lot less money. Right, let's talk about other bikes you might consider if you're in the market for a fast, lightweight bike with an Ultegra Di2 group set. And for starters, a Super 6 Evo is the same money as a bike here, but you don't get a fancy carbon handlebar and stem, which is a pro and a con. For me, the Super 6 Evo is heavier and not as smooth, but definitely a bit stiffer and probably a bit more aero and potentially faster. And then the Trek Madone SR7 is £1,000 cheaper, so quite impressive actually, but you do get a narrower handlebar. Again, like Super 6 Evo, a bit stiffer. Comfort is good though, with the ISOFlow giving good comfort in the saddle, but the looks are more polarizing than the Tarmac SL8. That BMC Team Machine R is more money at £8,500 with the same group set, but the BMC, while faster on flat roads and definitely a racier race bike, is more compromised with narrow tyre clearance it's a harder ride, not as smooth as a bike here, and not as easy or nice to live with, in my experience, as a Tarmac SL8. And then making the Tarmac look really expensive is, of course, the Van Rysel RCR Pro, which is £5,500. So not quite, but nearly half the price of the bike here. The only downside is it's out of stock, so getting your hands on one of those Van Rysels is pretty tricky. And the last contender, a bike I've not tried yet, but a bike I think comes up to where the SL8 is in terms of weight and aero, is a brand new Scott Addict RC, which I haven't tried yet, and that's good value for money as well. £6,500 for an Ultegra Di2 equipped bike, so that looks like a bit of a bargain and a potential Tarmac beater. Time to go for a ride to see how the SL8 performs and handles. But first, a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Insta360, with the amazing X5. I love this camera, and I'm not just saying it because they sponsor the channel. It just makes filming any bike ride, any bike adventure, road racing, commuting, bike packing, whatever it is, super easy. There are loads and loads of features in this small camera, and it's best to check out the Insta360 website for more details and buy yourself one using my affiliate link code down below in the description of today's video. Right, let's go see how the SL8 performs and handles. Okay, here we go then, and the SL8 is a properly rapid bike. It's fast, even with me on it, even my measly power output, it's quick and makes you feel fast everywhere and makes you feel like a pro. But what's nice about the Tarmac is it's fast everywhere, on the flats, but also climbing thanks to the low weight, and also going downhill too. Just a fantastic all-round package that delivers good performance in every scenario. It's not as quick as the BMC Team Machine R, probably the fastest bike I've tested in the last 12 months and fastest around my test track, but the SL8 is a more rounded package. It's lighter and it climbs better too, and it's more comfortable than the Team Machine R2. Where the Tarmac really shines though, you've got the Aero performance, which you can believe or not believe, it's a low weight. For me, it's the way the bike climbs that I most fell in love with. You can't judge how the bike climbs by the number on the scales, because it's the way it feels beneath you that's truly special. It's that combination of low weight, stiffness, steep angles, and a short wheelbase that gives the Tarmac a whippy, responsive feel. It dances uphill with urgency, almost begging you to attack the next gradient. It's not just efficient, it's exhilarating. This may not lead to faster times on the climbs or any KOMs in my experience, but it jolly well feels good, and that counts for a lot for me. It's more enjoyable on the climbs than a Madone or Air Road, and shares more of its spirit with something like a giant TCR Advance. That sense of liveliness is a quality I really value in a bike, and the Tarmac SL8 Pro absolutely delivers on that front. But what's really nice, and what I rediscovered in the 6 months I've had the bike, is that for us mere mortals, non-racing, pro cycling enthusiasts, it's an easy bike to live with. Yeah, you've got the speed and performance and stiffness and great handling, as you expect from a race bike, but enough comfort to make it an easy bike to ride for 100 miles over crappy roads, and it won't beat you up, it won't put you in trouble when it comes to your bad back. But there is one gripe with the bike, and that's a handlebar. It's simply too wide. 42 centimeters on its size at 56, and there's nowhere on a Specialized website to customize the handlebar width or stem length. So unless you're really friendly with your local Specialized dealer, swapping the handlebar for something narrower would be tricky. And because narrow is more aero and therefore faster, having such a wide handlebar on the bike is holding it back from being as fast, as aero as it potentially could be. And on a bike costing over £8,000, I don't think that's good enough. I don't think it's acceptable. You should have a handlebar that isn't the right size for you. Because if you're spending £8 grand on a bike, you're probably fairly serious about riding, maybe even racing. You know what you want and don't want, and Specialized not giving us the option here. So that's a real shame. And it's even worse when you consider that both BMC and Trek spec a narrow handlebar on all their bikes, all their race bikes, regardless of size, have a narrow handlebar. It's worth adding at this point that not just Specialized that has the same issue with supplying customization of handlebar sizes on their stock bikes. Other brands are trying to deal with this issue too. So after 6 months of riding and living with the Tarmac SL8 Pro, would I buy it? Probably not. I'd probably go for the Expert, the model below it, which costs £2,000 less, same frame, same group set, cheaper but still carbon wheels, and a 2-piece handlebar and stem, and then spend some money on a nicer handlebar that suits my fit requirements, put some wide tyres on, and I'll be happy. I think that'd be the way to get a tarmac that actually fits me properly without going the S-Works route. Testing the bike for the last 6 months has been interesting. Not the longest long-term test, but longer than I normally have with bikes here on the channel. So the bike has been through all weathers and all conditions, and I've no issue to report at all. It's been just an easy bike to live with. Now I see comments quite a bit about how modern bikes are complex. I guess with electronics and hydraulics they are in one sense, but also that means simplicity of maintenance, at least in my experience of riding this bike for 6 months. Everything on the bike just works the way it did when it first arrived and has needed no attention. The only requirement on my behalf has been charging the group set from time to time and inflating the tyres, and that is about it. The gears don't need any indexing, they work just as they did when it arrived all those months ago, and the brakes still work just the same as well. And there's loads of meat on the pad still, so no issues there at all. And then the bearings all spin smoothly still. There's a bottom bracket, just fine. The hubs, yeah, nothing wrong there. And the headset bearings, still very, very smooth. The only issue I've had with the bike really when it first arrived were the tyres. It came with inner tubes, which I swapped for sealant, for tubeless. But these tyres are very, very, very tight on the rims and required all my strength in my thumbs to break the seal between the tyre and the rim before I get a tyre lever in there. So the tyres are very tight, tighter than I've experienced in a long, long time, which is great for that reassurance the tyre won't pop off the rim in a high-speed situation, but also a concern if you have a puncture and you need a roadside repair. But luckily in 6 months of testing, touch wood, I've not had a puncture, so not had to test it out myself, but that has been a concern, a worry at the back of my mind. But during my testing, I've been swapping the wheels and tyres, and I put on my control wheels, a nice set of MV SES 4.5 wheels with either 13mm wide Pirelli P0s or Continental GP5000 STR tyres. So a wheel set I know and tyres I know more than the wheels and tyres here, and which I test all the bikes that come through the studio here at Just Ride Bikes. So yeah. The Tarmac SL8 Pro is annoyingly good because if you can ignore the price, it's a bike that blends speed, low weight and genuine comfort in a way few others can. It's not without its flaws though. The wide handlebar, the narrow tyres and the limited colour choice do hold it back slightly, and of course there's the price. Oh, the price. But for all-round performance, day-to-day speed, ride quality and even looks, it could be argued it delivers almost everything you could want from a modern race bike. And yes, call me a Specialized fanboy, it's a bike I would happily own if it wasn't for the eye-watering price tag.